What is going on, folks? I hope everyone's doing well. I had to kick off a little bit early today just because my schedule went down the toilet. Uh, Let me see what's in the chat. I'm already seeing temperature-related jokes here. Hey, good afternoon, Loretta and Mad Shad, everyone's favorite madman, Mr. Joe. Hello again. And oh, hold on. And Vision, what's going on, Trent? Uh, I'm sure you're still recovering from that camp out because I know that was a lot of work. Just I'm just envisioning when I've done the Cub Scout campouts and the Boy Scout campouts, and we weren't doing it like ad hoc. We had people who'd done it before, so you were doing that from scratch. That's oof. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't do it in this weather because that would have been a real short camp out. I'll tell you what. Mimi, hello, hello. Big chat. What's going on, Big Chap? How are you? And Angie, hello. Yeah, still melting. It is 105 going to 108 today. It was 113 yesterday. We're going to get 3 more days. This will be, I think, day 13 or 14 of triple digits consecutively here in this part of Texas. Let's see, Johnny. I missed someone here. Johnny Preps, there he is. And Love and Life, hello, hello. Klingon Princess, what is going on? Hello. KP Heathen, what is going on? We were talking about visiting Louisiana. Uh, so, folks, it's been a weird week. Everybody basically spent a week watching a video of a rescue of a submarine that the Navy kind of figured out was probably doomed, but didn't tell anyone because they would have revealed where the sonar buoys are, which is cool and awful at the same time. Not cool that the people got blown up and squished or whatever, but that that the Navy has that capability. There's so many things going on. I think we could write a whole new Tom Clancy series with what's happening right now in the world. But I hope everyone's doing well. So yeah, right now, uh, parts of the U.S., Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, the Panhandle, West Texas, South Texas, even to Austin, like the whole, pretty much all of Texas, a lot of Louisiana, and parts of Oklahoma. I don't know how Arkansas is. You guys may be far enough east and north that you're not getting this. But hello, Cassandra. Welcome. And Moonsprout, welcome. Joe is about to break his rule on day drinking. I can't. I wanted to have a drink the other day just to kind of chill out, read a book, and it's so freaking hot that just the thought of it gave me a headache. It was like a psychological hangover. Uh, but hey, Watchman. Well, because they're being well funded and we're not. If you hadn't noticed. So somebody had asked me what actually happens. So I got to break out the calculator for this one because I won't remember off the top of my head. So hang on just a second here. Do. So I'm going to share the screen. In theory, I'm sharing a screen. Hang on. Oh, there it is, calculator. Ta-da! So you guys should, yeah. Some dog trying company was going to cancel a guy because he. Are you serious? Hey, Bougie, what's going on? Oh God, quilts and blankets. You know what I need? I need one of those Persian wraps. There's a reason for that. I have friends from Syria, and I'm like, okay, what's with the wraps? He's like, I have a kafia, which is a deployment wrap. He's like, take that, wrap it around your head, and walk around. I was actually cooler. He said, yeah, it has to be thin cotton material and wrapped around you, and it protects your skin from the sun, and you don't lose as much moisture, and it lowers your body temp. I was like, man, the ancient people knew way more than we did. People are like dying in the state parks down here because these geniuses are going to they're going to state parks with not enough water. They get up in the morning and it's, 75, 80 degrees. They're like, oh, we'll just do a 3-hour hike. In those 3 hours, it'll go to 101. And now you're in the forest or wherever the hell you are with half a bottle of water trying to figure out your way back. So don't do it. Make sure you have plenty of water or don't go. So let's see. One day for Veterans Day, one for Mother's Day, and a few days for Jesus, but a month for the rainbow. Yeah, unfortunately. Well, we don't understand. So we're going to do a little bit of math here with you guys. So I'm going to turn off this banner for a second so you all can see the screen. So salt water, regular water is 9.8 pounds per gallon. I'm going to spitball with salt in it, maybe 10 pounds per gallon. Or maybe actually, let me see, brine completion fluid is 11.2. They were what, 13,500 feet depth, and converting that 0.052 to pounds per square inch gives me, I think that's too high actually. I think so. Let's do 9.8. Oh no, sorry. 9-pound water by 13,500. Oh no, they didn't even make it that deep. By 3,500 by 0.052. I did something wrong here. Anyway, I calculated it right before. Times 9.8 times 0.052. There we go. That's right. Okay. So it's about, I think I'm a little high there, folks. So that would be the pressure per square inch. Yeah, Johnny, I'm a little bit high there. I think my estimation of how deep they were is off. But so it's 6,000 pounds. I just wanted to do the rough calc myself to make sure I was spitballing it right. And I'm going to show you guys a sketch of the sub, because what I'm figuring after talking to people, what I think has actually happened is pretty awful. So this is a graphic of the stupid sub. So this was kind of metal up here, but all of this was not metal. This was polymer. It was actually, it almost looks like a tube of toothpaste. Now, I'm going to give you another picture. Hang on, I'm going to switch the screen around just so you guys can kind of understand what I'm thinking here, how they screwed up this entire screen. Let's do screen 2. Ta-da! Share. Okay, so we should be looking at the stupid sub. Okay, there's the stupid sub. So, ta-da, stupid sub. Now, this is what an actual mini sub looks like. So this is all metal, right? And hey, Coffee, what's going on? Hello, hello. Yeah, Watchman, be careful. So so as you can see, this is metal, this is plexiglass, but this is all, for the most part, metal, either a mix of titanium, aluminum, aircraft aluminum, so that'd be T2025, steel, etc. Right? These are large, solid panels that's a homogeneous or basically consistent material, right? It's a metal. But this thing is a fiber. So if you look at, like, well, those of you who own Glock 19s, disassemble your weapon and look down the mag well, and you're going to notice it has like little fibers like this that are adhered together. They're specifically meant to have, hey, Loretta, what's going on? Thanks for joining me. It's meant to hold pressure and tension from a certain direction, right? But when you go in and out of the depth of the ocean, right? You just saw it was 6,000 pounds. So what winds up happening is metal will contract and expand. But we all cook with cast iron. We cook with, Teflon pans and aluminum pans. The metal doesn't come apart after repeated cycles, right? And there's a way to inspect it using X-ray imagery. You can inspect the metal and make sure it hasn't developed a fracture. There was no way to test this thing. So apparently what I'm reading is these folks did not they did not actually test after each descent of a metal sub to those depths. They go and inspect all the welds, they inspect the screws, they check the metal, they can image the metal and see if it's developing fractures. There's no way to do that with this thing. This was basically a tube of toothpaste ready to pop. And I mean, it's sad to say, but this thing was a kamikaze mission. And the more I'm reading about it, it's kind of awful. So just did they ever find the sandwich? I have no idea. Supposedly they found the tail cone, that little butt end of it, and parts of the front. But just to give you some context here. So here's my calculator again. So there's my 6,800. We're going to use 6,000 just to keep the numbers even. So let's say there was 6,000 PSI. And I looked up on one of the medical websites, and they said the average male human in the West has 255 square inches of surface area, your skin. So when that thing imploded, it was 1.53, or basically 1.53 million pounds of force hitting those people's bodies all at once. By comparison, say a 2,500 pound truck hitting you at 30 feet per second is 75,000 pounds of force. And you've all seen what like a truck would do hitting someone. So yeah, so defund the media, exactly. So anyway, rabbits are quiet, cute, and cheap. I want to get rabbits just so the corgis can herd them. Oh yeah, our media either is lying or they're incompetent, or both, depending on which channel you're watching. But truthfully, 1.5 million pounds, and I just did the calculation here, and it's not perfect. Oh wait, what was that? There's look at Submarine. Oh, was he trying to get rid of his wife? That's what it sounds like. Yeah, they were basically turned to plasma, like, and not only that, you have oxygen and you have a little bit of hydrocarbon. Inside a vehicle, you smell the diesel. That's really particles of, like, fuel in the air. It doesn't kill you per se. Probably not great to smell. But if you're familiar with a diesel engine, it doesn't have spark plugs, if I'm correct, right? It's the compression that ignites the fuel air mix. So basically, this thing became a big diesel piston, and that thing compressed 1.5 million pounds, which just blows my mind, that amount of pressure. And it basically vaporized them. And then when those gases aren't going to stay there, they expand, right? Because they're hot. They expand into the water, and the pieces went everywhere, which is why you don't have like a crumpled up. A lot of people thought it would be like a crumpled up soda can at the bottom, but no, because of the air and stuff in it, it compressed. If it was empty, that's what it'd have done. But it compressed, ignited, blew up, and then the pieces settled. And that's why it settled kind of in a little circle right over the Titanic. So, oh no, they do have glow plugs. But you understand the concept. Like in general, it's the compression that sets off that diesel. Yeah. So the one consolation is the one physicist that I was watching on one of the engineering channels that I watch, he said it probably happened in about 2 milliseconds, and it takes the human brain, an athlete, 40 to 50 milliseconds to like realize a ball's being thrown at them. This is a trained athlete. So more than likely, they may have heard some creaking, and before they could register what happened, it was over. And, they left us. So, unfortunate. But a lot of the hypotheses that are going around, it's not accurate. And the fact that the they would take people. See, that this submarine that went to the Titanic looks like one you would take in like the bay. in, 100 feet down or 50 feet down, and you could look at the bottom of the ocean and bring tourists. I wouldn't go into the abyss of the ocean with that thing. But yeah, so it was a compression followed by a detonation, basically. So yeah, it's yeah. But anyway, there were a few people had reached out to me, and so I had to actually break out the damn engineering books and look up the conversion for fluids at depth from pounds per foot to pounds per square inch, so I didn't screw it up. But anyway, yeah. So it was, man. I would have looked at that thing and been like, no, this your submarine sucks, dude. I'd be like, this is not well done. I'd rather go and pay the Navy and fund one of their training classes. You guys take me in a real submarine and then let me ride around at that thing, because at least that's legit. Uh, well, exactly, and because it had gone through so many cycles, it's not metal, right? Each time you compress and contract, those fibers loosened. That thing should have been replaced, like panel entire section should have been replaced after every descent. So it is a bad decision is an understatement. Oh wow, see, and that just blows my mind, because that weakened the polymer doing that. Like, yeah, this is terrible. But anyway, so for those of you who are wondering, when they say it was an immense pressure, at least by my chalkboard slash impromptu calculation here, is 1.5 million pounds per square inch hit the body all at once. And then the air that was around them detonated. So they went from becoming like an amoeba to basically particles. Um, but again, it, interesting to know. And it brings up a point for preppers. Not that we should be in submarines, but checking your gear. I've mentioned it. I know Trent's mentioned it, or quite a few people in the chat have mentioned it on their channels. Those of you who are creating, um, checking your gear, because just because it worked the last time you pulled it out doesn't mean it'll work the next time. That goes for generators. Um, I have the propane lantern, with the little socks, the mantles they call them, the little boots. And I completely have forgotten how to do that. I must have burned the crap out of a half dozen of those things. I was pissed. I was cursing in the backyard in the patio. My wife came out and goes, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "These freaking little boots, they don't light up right." And finally, I remembered how to do it. Like, it popped in my head. I was like, "Oh, I screwed up. Shit." And then I did it right. And then it was good. So, yeah, check your equipment. Hey, take care, Watchman. Be careful out there. I went and got on that hoopity of a submarine with Mexican hoochies. Joe's already with the jokes. And Joe hasn't day drank yet. Those are just coming out of Joe naturally. I really think you should do stand up, but you're going to have to make it adults only on YouTube and just like start throwing out jokes. See, if you do it on the news, nobody likes you. But if you say it's comedy and they pay tickets, they'll go and listen. Then it's funny, apparently. But important lesson. And you would think a guy who designed this very interesting sub would have thought to check it after every descent. Like, when we fly, somebody said it did. I don't know if that was a troll saying that, but that would be funny if it did survive. Um, but someone who designed this very neat concept of a sub didn't think enough that, oh, maybe we should function test it between these massive descents to make sure we don't ruin the damn walls and it's not going to fail. So I can't even fathom. Whoa, my chair almost ejected me. That would have been an awesome on a live stream. Thump. The roaming prepper became the gravity prepper. That would have been bad. So, well, it certainly would have made the day interesting, right? So, folks, lesson learned. Don't forget to check your gear. because especially with this heat we have. Hey, Lucky, what's going on? So it was a bootleg PlayStation controller. That's true. If you threw the controllers, might have survived. Yeah, I almost broke my ass there, Trent. I'll tell you what. But yeah, so check your gear, guys. It's ugly hot in half the country. Lucky's probably melting where she is. If she's where I think she is, she's not happy either. And you've got more humidity but less temperature. I got the oven out here. But yeah, check your gear, because just because it worked the last time does not mean it's going to work the next time. Unfortunately, these folks found out the hard way. Well, yeah, the Titanic 2, rich people 0. So somebody put a comment on something I posted. I don't remember saying this was an example of white privilege, and then someone else said they weren't all white people. Like one guy was Indian, and someone was something else, and then someone says you're both wrong. This was stupid rich people with more money than sense, and kind of ended the whole conversation in the chat. Um, I don't know why people got to make it about race. These freaking guys just killed themselves in a submarine. But yeah, you would think you have that much money, you would design it better. Like I can't understand. Hey, Irishman, what's going on? So yeah, so in any case, check your gear. Clearly, these explorers, these adventurers did not, and much like the adventurers of old, they did not come home. So my white privilege card must still be in the mail. Yeah, I've never met, like, I'd have people say, oh, this group or that group's privileged. I'm like, all my friends were freaking poor growing up. Like, we were equally miserable. And we were quite a diverse group growing up. So it was kind of like, you had 8 kids, and between you had 4 baseball mitts, 2 balls, and a functioning baseball bat. We had a baseball game, right? Because it was 4 little guys in the outfield, one kid hitting the ball, he'd throw it up and hit it himself, almost like teenage T-ball, because we couldn't afford enough gloves between us. So my garden is not looking happy. Even the heat-loving plants are sad. Yeah, my yard is awful. It looks like death. Hey, Kentucky, what's going on? So let's see what other fun. So I had another one come up on my radar, and Economic Ninja had thrown it out there, and then someone else brought it up, and so I wanted to read into it. Let me see if I can do this without screwing everyone up here. There's no audio here. Uh, Hang on just a second. So, Supreme Court rules that IRS can request bank account info without notice to third party. Now, some folks said that this means the IRS can just go into your bank account. Technically, yes and no, and I'll explain, because there's a limit. There's like a caveat here. Um, so the background was this guy, Remo Pacelli, had underpaid his federal taxes for years, and he basically owed 2 million to the IRS. Um, the IRS issued summonses in the course of getting these back taxes that they determined were owed, because they audited him, because his numbers didn't match. And so then they wound up issuing summonses for him, his wife, his lawyers, and some businesses that were affiliated to him. I should do a chat GPT online, like a live one, and see what comes out of it. Uh, so the IRS did not notify Pacelli's wife or his lawyers about the summonses to their bank accounts or their business accounts. And they were relying on a specific part of the tax code saying it aids in the collection of taxes. So, um, what this guy said, and this is a legal opinion from this lawyer at Forbes, uh, is essentially the only reason the IRS could do this. And I'll stop sharing. Actually, I'll throw the link in here in case you guys want to. Mods, let me know if that link shows up on YouTube. Stop sharing now, and we'll close this window. Anyway, so in a nutshell, the only reason the IRS could issue the summonses was because they were investigating dude number one. And then it turned out his wife, his lawyer, his business partner, another affiliated business all had their hands in the cookie jar. Okay, thank you, Lucky. Talking to it is also teaching it. Yeah, no kidding. But so in order for them to get the summons, though, and subpoena these records, they actually had to go to a tax court. So they did have to go to a judge and present probable cause or justifiable cause. So because person number one owed $1 million in back tax or 2 million in taxes, and he was already being investigated, they were looking at affiliated accounts because the money wasn't all with him, and they were trying to determine who had their hands in the cookie jar. So yeah, the IRS can eat my shorts, but as well. But point being, they did have to get a summons that was required. They did have to show reason for the summons. The judge then had to review and bless it, and then they had to present the appropriate docs to the banks. So they couldn't just call random banks and say, "Oh, I want Pete's bank account info," because they're not in the process of collecting anything. Also, they did point out that the IRS did notify him that if you don't come to us and work out some kind of agreement or payment plan, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mark. Hey, welcome. Sorry, I didn't see you there before. Yeah, so they can't just randomly go into your account. They needed a probable cause. They needed to go through the courts to do it. So the myth that they can just randomly go to like Chase or Wells Fargo or McMuffin Community Bank and look at all your crap. No, they can't technically do that. They need to go through the court, and the only way the court's going to bless it is if there's a reasonable cause or an ongoing investigation. Because think about it. Let's say the judge just blesses it and doesn't really do his due diligence, and they subpoena me and everybody, and I challenge it in court, and it's found that the summonses were not legitimate. The appeals judge, the appellate court's going to throw it out. So, ouch. So I did learn. So I miscalculated a few years ago because Sassy and I both got new jobs, and I miscalculated the taxes, and so I wound up owing, and I didn't feel like I could have paid it all, but I wanted to spread it out, and I just emailed and I did a payment plan, and it just whatever little amount per month until it was done and be gone. So if you owe big amounts like $2 million, like that knucklehead, yeah, you're going to get a lot of attention. So, so just keep in mind that these things there should be a process, and at least as of today, if they don't follow the process and it gets challenged in court, the whole kit and caboodle could get thrown out. Yeah, or diversify, spread it out somehow, so that you don't have everything in one place, because you never know what that. I mean, hell, the Chinese hackers could go and kill one of the banks, major banks, tomorrow, and we'll all be freaking out about that. So, and then we'll get to sit there with our coffee in the Sam's parking lot and watch people freak out over toilet paper again, because that was fun the last time. So I do have let me open another screen here for a second, folks, while I have the computer working the way it's supposed to. One day I'm just going to crash this thing. But in any case, so how many of you, hold on just a second here. There we go. So I'm going to do a poll here real quick. Let's talk the revolt in Russia. So was it real? Was it false? Was it something else? I'll throw that out to all of y'all, and I'll let you vote on what you think it is. Because that was just, man, that was quick. Like everyone was like false or something else. Nobody believes it's real. Something's not right with that for sure. So wow, you guys, like, that was really decisive. Like not a single person said, yeah, that was a real thing. So that was just a quick poll for you guys, but doggone, yeah. His protection bill was not paid. Who knows? His protection bill may not have been paid. That is the truth. So unless it was puffery, Pooty Poot X Gaming, 0% real. Yeah, exactly. Another distraction. So, by the way, while we were all watching the Russian thing and the squishy submarine, which we already covered, both of those, the IRS case went through, and Potato Jr.'s hearings went through. And for the record, and there are a few law enforcement or folks with law enforcement knowledge in the chat. If you are a felon and you're busted with a firearm, more than likely, if it was any one of us, me or any one of you in the chat, I bet you we would spend a minimum a year in jail. Minimum if we pled out and the judge took mercy on us. These guys got away with it, and that pisses me off. I mean, they were threatening, and look, Trump's a potty mouth, and I like his ideas. I don't like his mouth, and he's very disruptive. But they went after Barron Trump, who was a little boy at the time. Was he 11, 12, something like that? Ugly, ugly things. And this monkey they got, Monkey Jr. over there, they got pictures of him with hookers. He lost his laptop with, I mean, the stuff he's been caught doing on video. He videoed himself. And that mocoso got a plea bargain that would have been sweet to anybody. To me, it's really frustrating. Hey, yeah, that's definitely true. No, we'll find well, that's the problem because America's playing checkers with only one color of checker and they're playing chess, and that's it. Yeah, we're not playing the same game. Hey, Fed Up, what's going on? Yep. And what's funny is now the commander of Wagner, who actually was relatively successful, is now sitting in Belarus with a bunch of tactical nukes that Putin just put there. Has anyone thought about that? I don't know what that means. Like Lucky quaintly points out very accurately, we don't know. Hey, Suburban. Now think about it, right? He moved up there. What's up there that needs a good commander? And where did Pooty Poo just put a bunch of little tactical nukes? So I like that, Pooty Poots. Now that's going to be his name in my live stream from now on. True, it's not guaranteed, but truthfully, Mark, they would have clobbered any one of the common men and women, and he kind of got a get out of jail free card. It just, yeah, that just I can't even fathom how many people have suffered. So they threw this one on the news earlier, and I thought this was interesting. Batteries are low. Oh, Magic's losing a keyboard. So let me see if I can bring this up, if it would actually behave. All right, hold on just a second here. So apparently, Russia had hit one of uh, the Wagner locations, which I thought was odd because I thought that was a done deal there. So there, Putin strikes back. New footage showing Russian military attacking Wagner Group. But you never know what's incredible moment. Russia strikes a Wagner Group rebellion. You never really know what these cats are up to because we're seeing it from their side. You said punk. Hey, the dude. No, that's what we're actually. I don't know. You may have come in late. The this was the general consensus in the chat about the Russian revolt. It was either a false Freddy or something else, and it was not true. We're not real. So right, and that's something that I thought was interesting. That's yeah, you guys are right. Um, Operation Retrieve Vodka. Wait, but is it Russian vodka? Because that could the FBI might come and arrest you for that. So offshore Vietnam, for those of you who are history buffs, and guys, those of you who are, help me if I'm wrong, the Gulf of Tonkin, which is where the original conflict started when the US got into Vietnam, that whole incident between the US Navy and the Vietnamese Navy was revolving around offshore drilling. Right now, China, from what I heard, is trying to make, thanks for the heads up. Yeah, it was something other than what they say it was, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the Tonkin Yacht Club. Yeah. So Vietnam and China do not play well together anymore at all in any level. And the Philippines, Malaysia, uh, Indonesia, all those countries down in the South China Sea are having issues right now. So the US Ronald Reagan being offshore Vietnam, I'll bet you, and you guys chime in here, is probably forced posturing, especially around those Indonesian, Malaysian drilling areas. So, you know, important stuff to think about because that can escalate really fast if an aircraft carrier gets involved. So it's exactly what it is. Offshore drilling and Coca-Cola. Hey, Fallen Skies. Coca-Cola, unless they may be getting product there, but still, yeah, some company has their hands in this. Yeah, but it is deniability as far as Wagner, because you notice Putin announces, "I'm sending my little tactical booms over to Belarus." All of a sudden, Wagner decides, "Oh, revolt. No, never mind, no revolt. We just shot down a helicopter. My bad." And they all go home. And all of a sudden, the Wagner commander is now in Belarus. We would be very mistaken to think that was coincidental. I don't buy it. I think uh, the dude, and probably most of you, based on that, based on these responses here, uh, I don't think anybody is buying it at face level. Now, if for some reason they had rolled into Moscow and had a fight there, then I'd be like, oh, right, well, now Moscow's on fire. So clearly that was serious. That was personal. Um, but yeah, it's, and for those of you who were called conspiracy theorists, um, paranoid, uh, the ones who were told, obey the science is irrefutable, and all right, we'll see you later, love, and all that fun stuff. Uh, Lab leakers are now turning their guns on the US government. Um, for long months, both sides of the great COVID origins debate have been nervously waiting, and Congress unanimously passed a law that said everything the US intelligence community held on the origins of COVID must be made public. And there was no wiggle room. That was they actually were about to subpoena, if they didn't already subpoena, the director of the FBI and the other agencies. So the bottom line is, we weren't wrong. We may not have been completely right, but something nobody knows is the thing. So all those people who went online and said that we should be, yeah, it did get really fishy. Hey, Auslander. Oh, you got radical zealot terror. Oh, you got terrorist. I didn't get terrorist. I got a hole. And yeah, I know 12 hours later. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's some very substantial oil and gas and fisheries in those waters. So it's in, but yeah, so granted the report really didn't confirm yes for sure or no it wasn't, but it basically said it absolutely could be, and it's a reasonable assumption to state that it was this was a lab created or a man-made or human enhanced disease. So for those of us who were getting threatened with, well, people lost their damn jobs because of this. um, People were being run off of internet. They were being cut off by friends and family. And now it's like, oh well, guess what, folks, you may not have been wrong. And I think that's crap. My only consolation is that I'm still around and I was able to witness the fact that they really didn't know. And what's funny, the intelligence agencies were kind of in that 50-50 camp a while ago. They were told not to release anything, which again goes to our leadership right now. So interesting, weird stuff. There was so much distraction with the submarine and the Wagner rebellion, and you had to dig to find out that the IRS could subpoena not just you if you're under audit, but everyone around you. They hid the fact that, Potato Jr. is actually uh, made a plea deal that would have made Al Capone blush. We wouldn't have gotten that deal. They would have thrown our asses under the jail. So that's exactly what it is. It's squirrel stuff. So it makes you wonder if and while they were all watching Wagner, who moved with Prigozhin, the general of Wagner, what asset does he now or did he have up north to get things done? Like they're positioning pieces. We're gonna see what they were thinking 3 4 months from now. We're not gonna see it now. Um, right now they're playing an attrition game. So that was far better than Potato and his spawn. Yeah, and it makes no sense. Was the Blackwater CEO going to take over? Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. So at least Capone shot people in broad daylight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see where that's going to go. But so if your takeaway from that last story, and I know you're already there. I'm preaching to the choir. Don't believe everything the media tells you because they are lying or they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Um, but that being said, going back to the first story in the submarine, check your gear. Just because it worked the last 3 times doesn't mean it's going to work again. That goes for your firearms, that goes for your lanterns, your camping stoves. You leave your camp stove in the garage or in the shed, and they get heat rot on the rubber, and eventually it'll decay. And now you no longer have a usable camp stove. check your fireplace, make sure that it turns on during the summer so you're not trying to fix it in the winter when it's freezing. Uh, you is protecting the cash. Yeah, he is. We've all been walking on this. You won't talk anything for way too long. Yeah, truth. That's a really, and that's a very appropriate way to put it, Os, is people are, they basically made people afraid to speak out very effectively too. As it is, and Vision has been forwarding me on Instagram. He and a few others, my mother Spark Vision, they've been forwarding me articles because I got put in Instagram jail for a trafficking video that went viral on TikTok and got quite a lot of views on YouTube. And Instagram crushed it within 2 hours and then restricted me from responding, liking, forwarding anything for 2 weeks. Uh, and that may be also because they're under investigation for harboring trafficking. So, they didn't eat a bag of ass as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, that that's the kind of stuff we're up against, trying to, speak plainly amongst ourselves and exchange information. Oh, you know what? That's 6 billion we know of. I bet you there's so much more that's gone. Yeah, no. Do those things now. So in your off season, now's a great time to buy some winter clothing because they're in the back of the store and they don't know what to do with it because the new season's fashions are going to come out. Go to the back of the store in the sporting goods section and find that winter gear now because nobody's thinking of it right now. As a matter of fact, I probably am going to go do that. And in the winter, while it's the dead of winter, go find that, hot weather gear. So, yeah, but yeah, folks, the big guys cut. And see, we have these damn mesquite bush tree things that have thorns, and we have cactus. Although the mesquite is nice in a barbecue, you don't want to cut cactus. That's awful. But summer clothes typically start going on sale after July 4th, and they get really discounted as you get into September, October. So I can't miss $6. I know you would think 6 billion. I have an electric to gas and a pull chainsaw. Yeah. So and actually that's a good point, redundancy. Because the power goes out, you may want to find that gear now. Check the flashlights. And by the way, don't just turn them on and off. If you haven't opened the battery in your flashlight, open it and make sure the batteries haven't started leaking because it'll still power the flashlight even if they are leaking until a certain point it gets too much. So yeah, check those batteries, and if you hadn't exchanged them in a year, swap them out now while you can still get replacement batteries. So, and have a stash of batteries if you can. So folks, check your gear, double check your gear. Don't do what the submarine folks did. They went on an adventure and it cost them their life because the leader of the adventure did not check his gear. He did not do anything any engineer or physicist would recommend, whether it was arrogance or stupidity or both. And it cost 5 people their lives, including his own. Um, but yeah, 1.5 million pounds of pressure is quite a bit. So, folks, I'm going to end this one now. I had to run my schedules are all screwed up, so my live streams have been all over the map this last couple of weeks. But I'm hoping to start bringing guests back once everything settles down, probably after the 4th of July. So, folks, be careful, be safe out there. Question everything. Question these shits. Challenge it. Think critically. Even if you can't quantify why you don't agree, you're like, I'm reading it. I don't understand why I don't agree, but I don't agree. That's okay. You're allowed to be suspicious. You're allowed to question. So when someone says the science is irrefutable, don't question the science. If that was the case, we'd still be in the Middle Ages. people challenge shit, and that's how we moved ahead as a society. So challenge shit. Screw that. But anyway, guys, be safe out there. Be careful. Vision, and I don't know if Hudson's going on tonight. He's been kind of not sure if he's going to stay on Tuesdays. Vision goes on in about an hour and change. Hudson goes on. My mother Spark went on yesterday. She usually goes on the weekends. Anyone else? Yes, drink water and hydrate. And if you got to make a road trip, bring water in your vehicle. One of my coworkers got stranded yesterday coming from a work location in the middle of the grasslands and the freaking cactus out here, and they had 2 bottles of water in the truck. And I asked him, well, why didn't you bring like I have a trip bin. I fill it each time I go. It has rechargeable batteries and flashlight. It's my go bag, and then I bring that like bonus trip box. And she's like, oh, I'm not that organized. I'm like, we're going to need to have a talk when you get back from vacation, because that's not bueno. Anyway, folks, be careful, be safe. Oh, hey, Oz, I'm loading a video right now asking a huge question that nobody seems to have answered for. All right, so go check out Oz's. I can't dump your link with the way my screens are set, Oz. But go to Auslander. He's going to drop a video. Yes. And actually, my clay shoots, after I put myself in the ER last year in the heat, I bring the little Gatorade pouches that you put in your water bottles to every event I go to now. So, hey, everyone always, hey, what's going on, All-American? So, folks, yes, science is asking question. Question this stuff. Be safe. Okay, so Hudson is going on. Vision's going on. Shad, are you going on tonight? No, you go on later in the week. I got everyone mixed up. Anyway, thank you, Shad. Oz is going to drop a new video, so go say hi to him, leave him a like, support each other if you can, and I will see you guys on my next video Thursday-ish, unless I pop in Wednesday for some reason. You guys be good, be careful out there, and yes, keep praying. God bless, and stay smart. So you guys be good, be careful.